What is going on, YouTube?
We're
Pass
live.
the prop back here again. We have, I don't know what just happened there. That was weird. We got college basketball ready for you guys today. Joined as always by my guy Stu. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Can't complain. I mean, it's kind of the busiest time of the year here, post NFL season. We got March Madness coming back tomorrow. We got MLB opening day. I mean, a lot of stuff going on right now. So busy time of the year, but excited to dive into some bets, talk some Sweet 16, and hopefully, keep the good times going in college basketball. My brackets are looking solid. I can't complain too much. So yeah, ready to dive in.
Yeah, no, dude, it's all the ones are still alive. I'm hoping that we see some some crazy stuff happening. It's tough, with the NIL and everything there too, where you kind of see those super teams kind of coming around. But yeah, I'm hopefully a one goes down, and I'm hoping it ain't Houston, right? That's all I care about there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have Houston going to the championship game and then the finals in my bracket, so I'm with you. I'm rooting for them. It's looking so far so good, so can't really complain. I'm looking at my bracket right now. That's why I keep looking to the side right there. But yeah, I mean, I think it'll be pretty good.
Yeah, no, for sure. And we got a couple guys in the chat. We already got Chance talking already about that. I kind of was expecting something. But when you come up here, man, you're going to make your mistakes on some of those. And I thought St. Mary's missed a lot of shots. So a lot of fucking layups, a lot of those miss in that game. So I'll give Chances his flowers here. But yeah, I don't think we really are going to go out of our way for every game here if we get it right. Because there's a lot of games we were right on. When you get to be up here and you're talking about 50, 60 games, there's going to be some that, you got to make your stands on your brackets, man. You got to, or else it's just going to be everybody taking favorites to the end. And what fun is that? What fun is that on those? So it is what it is. Yeah, man, I'm not going to really go down that road right now because everything is 2020 after the fact. And I watched them quite a bit. And they are not horrid. They are not a horrid basketball team by any stretch of the imagination. Unfortunately, on that one. So, Stu, anything you want to talk about from the last NBA show we had? I know we have to kind of get a quick recap in there. I know I took my L on Vucevic, who played 25 minutes only in mine. So, obviously, I have to talk about that. I thought Kobe White did his thing. Dude's just an absolute wizard right now. It's the Giddy and Kobe White show.
Yeah, that was disappointing. I mean, I didn't really watch that game at all, obviously, but saw Vucevic didn't really do much in that one. But win some, you lose some. I guess DeAndre Jordan played a lot less as well. I think
I think he played like 25 minutes.
Yeah, so it is what it is.
Yes, sir. I know. I saw Bub actually had one of the huge game. He had a huge rebounding game too. I think he doubled in that one.
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, it was split city here. Unfortunately, did not get Bub. I fell asleep with like 2 minutes left in like the first half, and he had like 0 points. And then I woke back up in like the fourth quarter, and he was well over the number. I was like, oh, damn. So it started out kind of strong, and then must have had a little bit of a score and run right there. So yeah, no dice on the Bub Carrington under for this one, but we did make it back with a KCP cash for the long shot right there. He did knock down 3 threes plus 340. Pretty disrespectful price tag for KCP, especially with no Cole Anthony, none of the starters. I mean, I don't know. It wasn't even an abnormal game. I think he only had 9 points total, and it was all on threes. So shout out to him. Got the job done right there and made it a little bit profitable for me. Those were the only 2 bets I had. So shout out to KCP.
Oh, yeah, dude. I know I took my L on the long shot plus 330 by, I think, 1 rebound. He had 14 points, 9 boards, I believe it was. So yeah, I mean, we were right there. The Magic were the team for the long shots, I guess, on the show. And it felt like we were in pretty good spots there. But yeah, dude, that sucked. I was like, dude, are we going to actually go 0-2 on straights and then hit our long shots? Cause that would just be something that obviously would happen, for us. And then obviously he, shit the bed there at the end. Only played 26 minutes or 27 minutes, which I thought was a little bit, surprising there.
Yeah, I mean, he got close. It's one of those good CLV as well. I don't know if you saw people were betting Carter a decent amount by the time tip off was there. So it is what it is. Just a good read. Just fell a little bit short right there.
Yeah, so it moves us to 33, 23, 13.9 on college and NBA. I know I still have my ticket out for Houston. Hopefully they can get that job done. But other than that, we can kind of get into this region. Sorry if I have any like technical issues. I think my dog just hit my charger, so it's going to be a little bit wonky here for a couple seconds because he obviously has to be underneath my legs when I'm doing shows only. So, but we should be good hopefully now after he kind of hit that out and it just kind of messed me up a little bit.
I've been there, man. My dog is a pain in the ass. That's why I'm on a different floor. I don't want to deal with that.
So yeah, let's get into it. We have 8 games Thursday, Friday. I don't know if you guys saw, we will be doing MLB tomorrow. We're going to be doing an opening day show tomorrow. So we'll be back here again live, I believe 3 days in a row. I think what we'll do is do Thursday specifically for college basketball. And if we have any bets for Friday, we'll talk about those on Friday along with the NBA stuff there. Unless we do a college basketball show specifically for Friday, but we got 4 games to kind of talk about here. We can talk a little bit about Friday stuff, but I don't think we either of us have a bet in it, unless I might show my one that I have for that one. But yeah, we got some great games those two. We got a pretty loaded slate for Thursday. We can kind of talk about each one. We got BYU, Alabama. We can kind of talk about that at the end because that's a game we're going to have all of our bets in. But what's your thoughts here? We got Maryland versus Florida. Crazy finish, obviously, in that in the game for Maryland. Obviously, Colorado State was probably the hottest team coming into the tournament. What's your thoughts on that one? You got anything on that one, or what did you feel about that game?
Yeah, I mean, Maryland, they're one of the teams that had some bias coming in a little bit just because I know some Maryland graduates, it's right in my area, good school. So I was definitely rooting for them. I had a little bit on the money line, and obviously that game was way too close for comfort. If you bet Maryland in any capacity, obviously it led to that insane ending sequence where the Colorado State dude hit that 3. You thought, okay, maybe that's game over, and then the freshman takes over for Maryland right there, hits the game winner. It was a great ending. Probably the most entertaining game I can think of in the tournament just because we got a buzzer beater. We got a lot of action right there. And then Florida also coming off of a less dominant performance, right? I think how many point favorites were they in that game? Like 8, something like
9,
that?
I think. I saw Portnoy talk it as his best bet of the tournament. And yeah, obviously that didn't come through. I think it were 9-point dogs.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of expectation there. I think Florida's been kind of the consensus pick everyone's been riding with. I feel like just from what I'm seeing and just like a lot of the ESPN personalities and stuff like that. And then they kind of disappointed a little bit in that one. So I don't know. I thought the spread might be a little bit higher. I was hoping if I could get Maryland at 7 or 7.5 or something like that. But I still think I'm going to be on the side of the dog there. I did see some people bringing up Florida maybe having some defensive weaknesses. I don't think they've allowed less than 70 points once this year, and it was 69 points. So people are scoring on them. I saw the Maryland team total was 75. That was kind of tempting. I mean, if every team pretty much all year long is going at 70 points, that seems like a fairly, easy threshold there. So I don't know. That's really all I was looking at, but definitely should be a good game. I'm rooting for Maryland, obviously.
Yeah, no, I kind of believe in that sentiment. I think I might wait because I think we're going to see a lot more money come in on Florida just because it's Florida and everybody has them in their bracket and they want to bet them. Yeah. But they're going to wait. I feel like that's more of the casual way to do it is wait till the day of and just, they're playing tonight. Let's bet it. And yeah, I think I definitely would probably lean with Maryland. I don't think there's many people doing that. I feel like it's definitely more of the Florida bets pretty much only exclusively, whether it's team total, spread. I feel like a lot of people are betting Florida here, but my thing is Maryland can match up pretty well. Obviously, they only play what, 6 guys? I think they have really only 5 dudes, right? That's pretty much what they're doing. I believe they have 3. I think it's Rice. I'm looking at it right now. Rice, Gillespie, and Queen all over 30 minutes per game, which is pretty high in college basketball. But just the fact that I could see a team that I feel like UConn is definitely not as talented as this Maryland starting 5. I kind of lean that way as well. I kind of hope they win, dude. I think that would just obviously would crush my bracket. But I want to see some crazy shit, man. Like, if I'm looking at these other 1 matchups, right, the other number 1 seeds playing through here, like, I don't think that Arizona is going to put up much of a threat there, right? I think Auburn's 9.5, Houston's 8.5. Like, honestly, I think this is the toughest matchup for a 1 right now. Is this Maryland team, because they're feisty. They kind of get the momentum from that. I definitely think Florida has a better coach here. I'm not a huge Kevin Willard fan, but you also have them probably leaving for another job right after this. So, this could probably get you a little bit more money too, man. So they're playing for a lot. Obviously, Queen is playing for draft stock pretty much. I'm assuming he's gone after this, but I don't know. I kind of like this Maryland team as long as they don't get in foul trouble, right? As long as they don't get in foul trouble, having Reese down there as well. They're a big team. They can match up with Florida's size, which not many teams can do. And then just kind of going to Gillespie, 40% three-point shooter, kind of can match up there a little bit with Clayton. I think the X factor is going to be how can they guard Elijah Martin and if he's hitting his outside shots, because we've seen when he hits those outside shots, they're really tough.
Yeah. And what do you think about Clayton? You just mentioned him. He's been a popular prop option. I think he's around 20 points again for this one. You think it's too high?
Yeah. I bet him last game at 18.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not betting him again, bro. I'm not going to. I get it. 20 points is a lot, though. Like, I'm hoping Kevin Willard isn't just dumb enough to just let him kind of run and do his thing. But I think they can kind of take him away. We saw Elijah Martin step up early in that game, getting to the rim on UConn, but not really going to be able to do that here, right? I don't think there's going to be that much stuff in the paint coming, when you have to deal with Derek Queen and Julian Reese inside. So I think this could be a fun game. I think it's going to be a tough matchup for those Florida bigs, having to deal with both of them, because they're going to run a double big too. And I know Reese isn't technically like a center, but I mean, he's what, 6'10", 250? Like, he's been around there too, right? So this is a good this would be a good spot for Maryland, at least for me. If I can get that 7.5, I think I'm going to wait till tomorrow. Not an official bet or anything, but definitely something that I might be looking at here as we go forward.
Yeah, the final thing I'll say is I did look, and yeah, you're right. No bench guy played more than 10 minutes last game for him. So.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, that's right. The Crab 5, man, they play every minute, and it works. Like it works because their top 5 is good enough to play with any team, right? That's the tough part. Is like they have 4 days off now, right? Like if it was like a back-to-back tournament, yeah, dude, they're gas, but. I think that looks to me a little bit more towards next game, maybe fading Maryland if they can win, because they'll have like a dogfight with those Arkansas and or Texas Tech. Those would be like a dogfight where I don't know if I want to trust a guy to do everything in that game.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. All
right, let's head to game number 2. We'll go Arizona Duke next. Arizona, obviously, I believe it's 9 plus 9.5 versus Duke. Any spot here, Stu? I know we get the Caleb Love getting to play Duke again. Obviously, that narrative has been just smashed all day. I don't know, man. I almost have to lean Duke here after watching a couple of those games.
Yeah, I mean, Duke's really not had any problems so far. It's been kind of easy coasting in each of their last 2 games. You want to see a team at least get a little bit of adversity, I guess. But I don't know. I mean, it was a clean sweep. Arizona started slow, right? It looked like they were maybe even going to possibly lose that game early, and then they turned it up pretty quickly and got back into it. Caleb Love, obviously, deserves a lot of credit for that. But I mean, when we were talking in the preview, I don't trust that guy at all. Like, I'm not a big college football, basketball fan, but in the few moments I have seen him, it hasn't been great. You know what I mean? There's been a lot of historical choking right there. And Duke, on the other hand, they haven't given me a reason to doubt him yet. And one of my biggest bets in the first weekend was Cooper Flag unders, especially in that first game, obviously, just because they were such heavy favorites. What was it, like Mount St. Mary's, right? It was like, why the hell would this guy who was just coming off an injury play like super heavy minutes? He was priced at like 30. He had the same pricing now that he did in round one. So that didn't make any sense. I had a lot of unders there. And he looked really good. He just didn't have to play deep into the game. So he kind of sailed through in those unders. And then last game, he looks pretty good as well. So yeah, I think Cooper Flag, I think overs are pretty solid for him. You can get him at around 20 points and 8 rebounds right now. I mean, it seems like it's going to be a high-paced game. Arizona's been a pace-up spot for a lot of teams so far. And I mean, Flag, I don't know if he's the best half-court scorer in the world. But if you get out in transition, you run a little bit. I think they're gonna have a lot of hard time stopping him. So that's really the only thing I have. I just think the minutes were only 22 and 29 in the first couple games. If this is a full-on dogfight, he's probably gonna clear 30 minutes in this one. I think points and rebounds should be pretty good for him. But no real take on the spread. It's kind of hard to get to a 9.5 point favorite,
Yeah, I definitely would lean with Flag and Knuppel plays. Only reason I say Knuppel in there as well, because I just do not think Tyrese Proctor's playing this well the whole time. The dude's shooting 70% from three. Come on, so when you're hot, you're hot. But when you're hot, you don't want to have a 4-day layoff, right? You want to be going right again and get yourself right back in there. So I think the size of Arizona is going to be kind of push here, because Flag is just huge, dude. He's scoring over everybody. That's why I said I want Houston to make it so bad, because I want Houston to play Duke, and I want to see what he does with those guys, because those guys are absolute menaces, man. And I love watching those guys play defense. And I think that would be the best game of the tournament. But obviously they got to make it there. But yeah, we got one more game to talk about for tomorrow. Like I said, this will be a pretty quick show. We got all the Thursday games here. We got 2 bets for you guys coming up here. Yeah, so don't switch it up. We just happen to be in the same game. So Arkansas, Texas Tech, that's a wild one to me. This one's the tough one for me, because my God, dude, Arkansas is playing the best basketball of the year right now. They're getting everybody healthy again, which makes it really tough. Because obviously I saw Boogie is back in, so that's a huge addition to this team. I don't know, man. 5.5. I thought I'd get more. Chase McMillan also coming back for Texas Tech scares me off of Arkansas there too. Because if he plays, it's Texas Tech or nothing for me. If he doesn't, I'm kind of worried Texas Tech isn't going to be able to handle the size of Arkansas.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Arkansas was one of the biggest benefits of not watching any college basketball and then betting on the tournament, because I had them in both of the first 2 rounds. And I felt pretty good about them against St. John's after the first round, just because for me, when I watch this stuff, there's just a couple things I'm looking for. I like multiple guards that actually want to take a shot. In college basketball, so many of these teams, even in the tournament, it feels like they're playing hot potato for the ball. There's maybe one guy that really wants to take the shot, and then a lot of other guys that are looking to pass. I don't know. It felt like when watching these guys, Boogie Flan coming back, being a bench player, kind of 6-man, he closed out most of that game. He played a lot of those ending minutes. I would expect to see that again. He was supposed to be on a minutes limit for the first game, but the coach said that it was what I believe a 20 minutes limit unless he's playing good. So that kind of tells you, as long as he's playing pretty well out there. And then John L., the FAU guy, right, that we've been betting on in the past, I cashed on his over last game, got off to a really hot start and then did almost nothing for the second half of the game. DJ Wagner was the guy that was taking over. I remember him from last year as well. Good point guard. He can't shoot at all. So that's a little bit annoying, but that's kind of the classic college guard, it feels like, that doesn't have the great jumper, kind of inconsistent. But Arkansas just had a lot of different versatility. The bigs were coming through. They had a lot of, like, it seemed like they had a deeper team as well. Like when Adu had that really good first game, and then he kind of toned it down. That Brazil guy in the paint is a good rebounder. He's been very consistent on defense as well. Like Arkansas just has a lot of guys, and it feels like they can play anyone close. So for me, this opened at 7.5. I did not get on it quick enough. Clearly, it's already down to 5.5. But I'm going to be back in Arkansas again. I think they're a good team. They're peaking at the right time. And it's just a concern of like, can you slow down? Like what JD Toppin on the other side has been kind of a dog, that guy's been pretty hard to stop. So it'll be an interesting matchup, but I like Arkansas. I'm going to keep riding with them.
Yeah, I don't mind taking Arkansas. It's just if Chance McMillan plays, I'm not playing them. Like he's that important, dude. You're taking out I believe he's their top scoring guard on this team. He needs 14 points a game. Like he's a senior, a guy who's been in these types of games before, and obviously been really good in Big 12 play. Dude, this makes it tough because like I'm gonna have to wait. I don't like having to wait for news in college basketball because you have to wait for like stupid beat reporters. It's gonna be like 5 minutes before the game starts. I'm gonna have to wait to make a bet here, which really sucks. But like even when you watch that Drake game, right? I believe the guy who took his spot, I think it was Christian Anderson, maybe was in the starting. Yeah, Christian Anderson. He went 2 for 9, 5 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. That's the guy who took his spot. Which, if I get 37 minutes of Chance McMillan, man, like that's 15. Right, that's what it is. He's 15 every game, shoots 38% from deep. Like he's a stud. Like. That I need to know, and that Williams guy took the step up. Obviously, I think what did he go for 30 something in that matchup against Drake because they kept double teaming Toppin. But again, when you get these mid majors, right, they're not used to dealing with these types of athletes, so that makes it a little bit tougher. But I have to see McMillan's status before I bet it. I know it's a shitty way of doing it, just because we're doing a show pre-flop. But there's no way I can bet my money on this game without knowing. Because if with this spread, it kind of tells me that McMillan's out. That's what it kind of tells me. But I don't want to have to guess. And then, it's college kids still at the end of the day,
Yeah.
So I'm going to wait on that. But we have one game where we have all of our bets. We have BYU versus Alabama. Probably this will be one of the more fun games to watch. Of the tournament, 175.5 total, and I feel like that might be even low in this one. What's your thoughts here, Stu? And then we can get to our best bets.
Yeah, BYU, the thing I said about them before the tournament, I feel like they could beat anyone and they could lose to anyone, and that makes them like a real interesting tournament team. And like you said, they put on some entertaining games already, and this one looks like it's going to be that. The whole kind of thesis with Bama St. Mary's is that they're literally the most opposite teams you could get, right? The highest paced and the lowest paced team in the tournament. Well, now you get a team that's the highest paced team left, and then you get another team that will definitely run with you, and they'll shoot all those threes, and they'll make it a high scoring game. So I'm pumped for this one. If I'm going to bet on the spread, it probably will be BYU. I haven't really been that impressed by Bama. In their first game, obviously, they had the least impressive showing out of any 1 and 2 seed in the tournament. So, yeah, I don't know. Bama just hasn't, looked all that ungodly impressive to me. And if BYU has a good shooting day, they'll compete with you, So 5.5 is I feel almost the same way about that as I feel about Arkansas, where I don't know if I'm in a rush to bet it right now because it feels like it's not going to get that much worse. Like Arkansas, I can't see that getting worse than 5.5. I don't see 4.5. You know what I mean? So I'll probably just wait, try to get a better number. I kind of feel that way about BYU. Like I'm not really at a rush to get this number. But I think if I'm going to bet a spread in this game, it's going to be BYU.
Yeah, I don't know. I would lean Bama. Like if I'm going to bet a side, I'd take Bama.
Do they just run him at the gym? Like, is that what happens, you think?
Well, I just think that when you play at altitude and you get all your games at altitude, and then you play in the tournament at altitude against teams that don't play it, that's huge, dude. That's like such a huge advantage, dude. Like, when do you see that for a 6 seed to have an advantage like something like that? because they usually don't play teams at altitude. They don't like the tournament doesn't usually give those as spots, or at least everybody is at a disadvantage there.
Yeah.
And now I just kind of think that this is one of those games where it's like you're playing the style Bama damn near perfected. Like they have this style down. That's why the teams that will beat them are the teams that can out physical, right? And that's the thing is I don't know if BYU can do that just because they kind of play that finesse style as well. I am really I was talking to you before the show about Keita against Amore and Stevenson, just those brutes underneath that actually play in the paint. I'm excited to watch those guys because Stevenson's an absolute beast as well. But my God, dude, I don't know if it was just the TV just making him look bigger, but Keita looked like an absolute like superhuman, bro. Like that dude's huge, like absolute specimen. So I'm very curious to see if they give him a little bit more run here. But it's just like I'm only worried because this is going to be the fastest paced game that we're going to see in this tournament, and I just don't know if BYU can like stay with them. I think they can for the first half, but like when you play this style all the time, like it makes it tough because BYU is usually, middle of the pack actually in terms of pace. That's the thing is they're 178th in pace. Against the Badgers, that did not happen. The Badgers are fast, but not Bama fast, right? It's just you saw what BYU shoot. Let me pull up the numbers because I was baffled by how well they shot as well. But what they shoot? 46% from three, 93% from the line. They're a 78% free throw shooting team. And they shoot about 38% as a team. So they had a ceiling game in that game. And my issue was Tanja was able to do whatever the hell he wanted in that game. So Sears, I think actually has a pretty good game. I'll probably have a bet on him at some point. But I will kick it over to you because you have a bet on a guy on Bama that we can kind of get into our props.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this, obviously you said a lot of the reasons why, but this should be a pretty good game for props in general with the total and obviously Alabama's pace and their scoring in general. BYU is going to have to match that. For me, Grant Nelson is a guy that I bet on last round, and I'm going right back to the well. And it was pretty simple in that first round game against Robert Morris. They were not winning. They were barely hanging on. And so Nelson, a guy who wasn't even supposed to really play in that game, all of a sudden pops off the bench in the second half, gets in there, scores a quick 5 points. They end up hanging on, and it's all good. But you could tell that it was like, we probably don't want to play this guy in the first round unless it's like an emergency, right? And that was the game plan. It turned out to be not an emergency full-fledged, but enough where they had to get him in the game. And that, to me, that was a good sign of confidence that like, okay, he's on the right track to playing heavier minutes. So last game, FanDuel was the only book that would post his number. And the reason is because there was no clarity in the starting lineup. Like, I wish there was a fucking underdog for college basketball because, oh my God, trying to keep track of this is a nightmare, especially for someone that's like not in the know as much. But so he's at 9.5 points before we even know if the guy's in the starting lineup. And then he's eventually ruled in the starting lineup. He goes over, he has 12 points, 8 rebounds. He ends up playing 28 minutes in that game. For me, to then see we have a whole, a little bit of rest. We have a little bit of a break here. To see the sports books reopen, the line's pretty much the same. It's one bucket higher for points at 12.5, and the rebounds is still pretty much the same. Then I think there's value there for a guy that we now know is at least kind of locked into that 28-ish minute role on the season. He averaged 19 points, rebounds, playing 24 minutes. When we saw him get into the tournament against a team like Auburn earlier, 23 points, 8 rebounds. If you do watch the broadcasts and stuff, Nelson is, I guess, a self-proclaimed big game player. The team kind of hypes him up for that. I mean, I remember him from the past having some of those big games before he transferred over here. But that was something that they were notably hyping up of like the team, trust him in these big moments, blah, blah, blah. Like he's a guy that I felt comfortable betting without any minute security last game. He wasn't particularly efficient, but he got to the free throw line a little bit. I imagine he'll do that in this game as well. And I just love the rebounding upside in college. Just these guys, they miss a lot of shots, man. I don't know how else to say it. Like, especially a BYU team that's probably going to be chucking a lot of threes. Like I just think there's going to be a lot of rebounding opportunities. So I played points as well at just 12, but I do like the points rebounds combination, giving you a little bit of upside right there. So yeah, like Grant Nelson, I think his minutes should be somewhat stable in this one, and the total kind of speaks for itself. So going to be backing him another game in, hopefully a little bit more healthy.
Yeah, no, I will be in that game as well, but I'm going to go to Igor. Igor Demon is going to be where I'm going for points, rebounds, assists at 20.5. I just feel like this is low. I mean, for a pace game like this, first off. Second, I don't know if you guys realize this guy's 6'8", bro. Like, he's playing point guard, small forward, point guard at 6'8". Like, he's a great rebounding guard, right? We saw 8 rebounds in the Wisconsin game, and I think it's going to be somewhat the same thing, right? Because a lot of threes going to be put up on this. The Badgers shoot a fuck ton of threes. Bama's going to shoot more, right? They're going to shoot actually more threes. So having a guard that can rebound that well, obviously very, very important. But you kind of seen him kind of take that step forward, towards the end of the year when he had I think he had a tough game, against Houston. But then VCU, 31 minutes, put up 11 shots, 10 shots in that Badger game. And I think he can hit this not only in just like having a spike rebound game, but we've seen him have 10 assist games. We've seen him have at least 5 or 6, 8 assist games, right? Obviously that on top of, getting layups in transition that we've been seeing here. And, when we start seeing these games where they're playing good teams, right? 34 minutes against Iowa State, right? Good team there. 31 minutes against VCU in a 9-point game, 27 minutes against my Badgers there. I get it. He's not going to be playing like Richie Saunders minutes, right? I don't expect him to play mid-30s, but he also doesn't have a Richie Saunders number because his number is closer to 30 in points, rebound, assists averages here. So I really just obviously like the pace. I'm not as worried about the bigs here because they're not really going to be able to help off of Keita, and I believe it's Traore as well on this roster. But we kind of see what his, kind of floor is against the Badgers in terms of being able to, if he misses his shots, because he was not shooting well. I think he was 3 for 10 from the field. Like, he did not shoot well, but he was able to put up 16 rebounds and assists in that spot. Just being able to affect the game, even if you're not shooting well. And if he is, then I feel even better about this number. So really like Demon tomorrow in that matchup at 20.5. Feel like we're just like 2 or 3 low here, and feel like we can get a good 25 to 28 minutes. I'm feeling great about the spot.
Yeah, no, I mean, he was a big buzzkill in round 1, obviously, as a BYU bettor, a guy that had some very inconsistent shooting in the regular season, come in and just light up a good defense. I mean, he was cooking in that game. And then I had him last game for 10 points. And, man, he had 8 early. And then it got real sweaty there. Like, he's passing like crazy, finding other guys. And then he hits a late clutch 3 that gets him to 11 points right there. It was a very nice 3. So I've been sweating this guy each of the last 2 games of the tournament. Definitely joining you for this one. A freshman, so, he could give you a 1 for 10 for sure from the field. That's definitely live. But the confidence, like you said, is a big thing with these young guys, and he's been playing well. He's been getting rewarded with the minutes in these games, and he even hit a clutch 3 at the end of it last game. So I don't see why he wouldn't be coming in this one with confidence. And when you think of, like a profile of these scorers that are going to have to match up and have to keep the pace going, he definitely fits the bill right there. So yeah, I like the spot. Hopefully we get a lot of easy transition buckets, some easy assists. And yeah, definitely going to be riding with Igor with an E.
Yeah, I will pull out one more thing is I thought Bama did a good job of kind of taking away the number 1 options in the other 2 games, right? I mean, St. Mary's, they had Saxon as their leading scorer there, even though Augustus, he had 11 shots, only scored 11 points in that one. Mark Alonis, I believe is how you say the last name. But if you watch that first game against Robert Morris, Dickerson, I don't believe, was their leading scorer going into that game. I believe it was, let me pull up their stats. Dickerson was like their 3rd leading scorer. It was Cam Woods, who's their number 1 guy.
I bet on that guy.
Yeah, but that Bama has done a good job of kind of taking away that number 1 option, which which is tough to do in college basketball, especially when you have like highly elite athletes here. But I could see them just really saying, hey, Saunders ain't going to beat us today. let these other guys do it. And I feel like that's going to obviously only benefit Denman if that is the way that they are thinking about this. So really like the spot for Denman as we move forward. And again, Friday, I will have a bet on a Friday game. Don't want to give that out here just because we'll be hopefully getting a little bit better number by the time those games start. So let's do a quick recap here, Stu, and we'll get people on their way here on their Wednesday.
Sounds good. Yeah. We got Grant Nelson over 18.5 points and rebounds, -110 over on FanDuel. If you don't have points and rebounds, I would just play points at 11.5.
Awesome. I'll be on Igor Denman over 20.5 points, rebounds, assists at -110 there. Stu, anything else for the people here before we get out? A little bit quicker show, 35 minutes, but I feel like we got a lot done.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm excited for the Sweet 16. It was a fun first round for me. I went 12, 10, and 1 on my picks, all
Nice.
posted for free. So little tiny bit of profit, the tiniest amount possible, but I'll take it. Surviving March Madness with profit is normally a win. And yeah, hopefully we can compound on that a little bit, add to it a little bit with this round. I'll probably drop another prop over on Instagram at some point today. Make sure to go follow over there. And then MLB is right around the corner. We're going to be talking some opening day tomorrow. I talked about James Wood over 17.5 home runs on VSiN yesterday. You still can get that one in. Little surprise here at the end. But yeah, just excited. It's going to be busy. So I guess maybe I'm lying to myself about excited. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be going on. But just, ready to win some more bets. And MLB's here, and we're going to keep doing that. So join us tomorrow. And yeah, leave a like on the video if you have any college basketball questions. Drop it in the comments below.
Yeah, no, for sure. Obviously, you guys know how it is for MLB. For me, it's kind of been the bread and butter for profit the last couple of years. At least my most profitable, because it's no one wants to go for the whole 162, but I feel like it's when you play long enough, you just kind of get into it. You like that grind a little bit more. Yeah, I think it'll be good. Obviously, we got college basketball tomorrow, but we'll be back. I believe we're going to try it early. I'll see if Stu is up for that. I do it a little bit earlier tomorrow just because we want to give you guys time to lock those in. I believe it's a 3:00 start. So it's actually nicer because usually we have to do 8 a.m.s or not 8 a.m. for me, 9 for Stu when we have some of these earlier, noon first pitches. But we got 3:00, so maybe we push it back a little bit there. But I'm excited. Obviously, I love MLB. And we are going to be ready to go here. So Friday, probably going to talk a little bit more college basketball, NBA. And then tomorrow we got MLB action back for opening day. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you tomorrow, hopefully. Make sure you pay attention, know when we go live, hit that notification bell, and we'll see you guys tomorrow live for opening day.